I need to show solidarity, apparently. Right. Every woman has my solidarity, even the women who don't like me. That's as a basic. However, when so many women come together, united by one issue, that doesn't mean the divisions between them have gone away. Now, my focus is, and has always been, the institutions around safeguarding, looked after children, and the institutions which protect women from violence. That's never been. The law has not changed. The law was the same. 2010, there's a bit of an evolution since. My position has always placed me within the law at centre position. It should never ever have had to be dealt with by any movement, because this is basic government responsibility. All political parties should have been aware of these systems, and they weren't during austerity. And as a consequence, some media cultures used abuse, physical abuse of children, coercion, gaslighting, narcissistic abuse, and create an abusive bubble on a chat room while they undermined the rule of law and 100,000 people died. My interest is that rule of law. Anybody who tries to prevent me from discussing that rule of law is telling me something very important. And when people try to stop me discussing that rule of law by putting my kid at risk, by terrorising me, I know that those people are not very nice, even if those people identify as my representation. Now, existing media cultures believe that this movement is their way to avoid addressing the stuff that's happened. No, it just happened. The rule of law was undermined and 100,000 people died, and I am within the population of people where a small group of people on Twitter decided to try and do that, and it wasn't possible. Now, I understand that many of those people on Twitter did not know that they were doing that many of those journalists and many of those editors did not know. And I understand that many of them are actually fully committed to women's equality and just didn't realise, and that's fine. And if those women want to show solidarity with me, then they would need to show that they recognise the seriousness of what has just occurred, and some humility. I cannot show solidarity with women who've just actively tried to undermine every right that women and children had in this country. And if solidarity means me not discussing these systems, not discussing political consensus on these systems, not discussing the failure of my trade union, not discussing how political media cultures just actively prevented that discussion, it's not solidarity. It's you asking me to put everybody who was marginalised in the last 8 years second to your identity. I don't give a fuck about your identity. I stand with women. Always. I would never harm a woman or a child, even the stalker that caused so much harm in that period. I won't have a go at her because she's got fucking children and vulnerable and dangerous and not different. That shapes everything that I do. It always has done. It always will do. But you can't stand with someone who's trying to stand on your throat, can you? And I don't do that. And I don't pretend that solidarity, which is actually abuse, solidarity which demands that I cast women to violent activists, solidarity which demands that I don't discuss that my trade union should have been saying what I'm saying, solidarity that demands that I do not discuss the way a media culture behaved to deliver austerity in the last 8 years, and I do not discuss the abuse of women that's endemic in that chat room. That's not solidarity. And it's nothing that I need. I don't need that media machinery. I certainly don't need those hierarchies. I was never seeking to be a public figure, so there's nothing they can deny me that I want. I won't pretend abuse is not what it is, and I won't pretend that solidarity is something. Solidarity is not a whip to be withdrawn. Solidarity is safety. And anybody who shows me that they use solidarity like a whip to put women and kids at risk of violence, I just know to avoid that person. It's very much like assessing a potential partner.